This is an excerpt from my book, Dictator From Day One: How Donald Trump is Overthrowing the Constitution and How to Fight Back. And this is a section I call Everything is a Distraction and Nothing Is. An overarching theme of this book is that we are not in normal times, and we can no longer follow the rules and tactics of normal politics. There is no clearer example of this than Donald Trump's ability to create distractions and his opponents' a tendency to fall into that language of distraction. In normal times, as the old saying has it, most of politics happens within the 40-yard lines. The two mainstream political parties offer minor variants on a relatively stable liberal democratic consensus. In those conditions, there are only a few big political conversations at any one time. The basic tactic of ordinary politics is to consult the polls, find the one issue on which the opposing party seems most vulnerable, an economic downturn, a foreign policy fiasco, an embarrassing scandal. Fix all your attention on that issue, hammer it relentlessly, and declare that everything else is a distraction. This is the playbook opposition politicians want to fall back on. But precisely because an authoritarian leader is asserting broad and unprecedented power, he has an endless ability to seize the initiative and create new issues. While we try to focus on one outrageous new action, something that would have time in normal politics to ripen into a major scandal, he has already created three more. An opposition that has the habit of focusing only on one narrow, concrete thing at a time is kept permanently off balance. You can see this in the rhetoric about how each new outrage is just a distraction. Starting a war in Venezuela is a distraction from sending troops to occupy our cities, which is a distraction from Trump's attempt to bury the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, which is a distraction from bad jobs numbers, which is a distraction from the price of eggs, and so on in an infinite loop. The strong man has flooded the zone. Everything is a distraction from everything else, and there's no single message to use against him. In truth, everything is a distraction and nothing is. Everything is a distraction in the sense that focusing just on that specific thing distracts us from the one big thing, which is Trump's attempt to centralize all power in himself. But nothing is a distraction in the sense that each of these small things is an example of that one big thing. When things start to go badly in an authoritarian system, and they will go wrong, there's always the same single underlying cause. When employment drops and businesses close because of Trump's tariffs, it's not just because he had bad ideas about tariffs. It's because the tiniest bad idea that floats into his brain instantly gets turned into policy without being subject to criticism, debate, and approval in Congress. When mass immigration agents abduct your neighbor Carol, who has been a pillar of your community for 30 years, or your kid's friends suddenly disappear from school, or your new bride is detained on the way back from your honeymoon, and these all real examples, it is not because somebody made a mistake. It's because Trump has removed any legal process that might prevent such a mistake. When a federally funded program that was a mainstay of your community suddenly shuts down without notice, maybe it's a center for training firefighters or a program to support RNA vaccines against cancer, it's not because the country failed to grasp the value of this worthy program or the needs of its beneficiaries. It's because programs were being cut at random, the worthy and the unworthy alike, at the whim of Trump and his court favorites, with no outside check on those decisions. Taken one at a time, each of these issues can be a distraction from the other, which is why we must insist that they are not taken one at a time. When we take them all together, they do not distract from each other, they reinforce one another. They add up to a picture of a dangerously unchecked leader, a mad king whose erratic and paranoid rule is spiraling out of control. This is the one issue we should focus on, hammer away at, define in the public mind, and refuse to be distracted from: the intolerable danger of one-man rule. If we focus on that issue and that message, it will just be reinforced by every new outrage that Trump generates.